Hello there, and a huge welcome to today's episode of Gina Gardiner and Friends. And today I'm joined by Barbara Wainwright. Now, she's a certified life coach, and she's the CEO and founder of Wainwright Global Institute of Professional Coaching. And she has trained thousands of coaches. Welcome to the show. So lovely to have you here.
Thank you so much. I am so delighted to be here. I just felt such an affinity when we first met, and I'm just looking forward to our conversation today.
Me too. And one of the things, well, the theme of today is if you show up for God, God will show up for you in miraculous ways. And I don't think it matters what religion you are or what you call God, whether it's source or ultimately, for me, it's the higher power. And
Yes.
when you show up to be your best self,
Yes.
and that you are doing things in terms of service for others,
Yes.
then you are giving yourself the opportunity for miracles to happen.
Absolutely.
But before we get into all of that, so let's hear about you. What's the story? How do you become the CEO of Wainwright Global
Oh,
Institute of Professional Coaching? Because you don't born that way, are you?
no, that's so true. Yes, it didn't happen overnight either. So I had this background of software development, and I designed and coded programs that managed a lot of different kinds of billing systems. And while I was doing that, for about 10 years of the time that I was doing that, I had this calling. I knew there was something else I was supposed to be doing. I didn't know what it was. So I was taking classes. I took pranic healing classes, angel therapy classes, certified spiritual coaching classes. I took crystal healing classes, and I read books. I read tons of psychology books, and I just wanted to know how to do life better because I wasn't really having a successful life. I was married and divorced 3 times. So it's like that just wasn't working out. So how can I be better? How can I do this thing called life better? And one of the things that really helped me, I'll say, is Codependence Anonymous. I was in that program for many years, in the 12-step program, and it changed my life a lot. So that's one thing. Another thing that really helped me a lot was The Power of Now, A Guide to Spiritual Enlightenment, written by Eckhart Tolle.
Yeah.
Reading his book, that helped me a ton. Anyway, so while I was programming for 10 years, I was hunting, I was searching, I was taking classes, trying to figure out what was my next thing. I stumbled on coaching. And when I got to coaching, I was like, oh, I think this is it. And I asked for a sign. I just like, okay, if this is really what I'm supposed to do, please give me a confirmation. And I got the confirmation, and I just went full bore into, I want to do this thing called coaching. And I got trained and certified, and I discovered that it was a very expensive process to get trained, and it was very lengthy.
Oh,
Okay. And I
yes,
went,
I
oh,
know it
this
well.
is right. And so I went, coming from the systems development software, make things run bigger, better, faster so that it's not so complicated. I took that and applied it to coaching. And I said, you know what, this is not difficult. We're asking questions. We're helping to find out where a client wants to go by asking questions. What do they want to experience in the world by asking those questions? And then we need to reprogram the subconscious mind, because 5% of the day we're working from our creative conscious mind. 95% of the day it's subconscious behavior. So how do we marry those two things? We don't know what we don't know in the subconscious mind. We're not cognizant when it's being programmed when we're children. So what if we could get the subconscious mind online with where the creative conscious mind wants to go and what they want to create? So that's part of my coaching system that I developed. I have the questions. Here's the questions you ask. Here's how you create the vision statement for the client. They listen to it and reprogram that subconscious mind. And then on the ongoing coaching sessions, you're holding them accountable to taking steps forward. So my coaching system's not hard to learn. In 12 hours, you can learn this system because it's ask these questions, create the vision statement, ask these questions, keep them accountable, and you're done. I mean, that's coaching. So I developed that coaching system, and it's just been proven to work by now. My curriculum's been accredited at the university graduate level, and that's coaching. So that's how I ended up getting into coaching. Was I took the training. It was expensive and it took time. And I'm like, this is not that hard. I think I could figure out an easier, softer way to do this, and created the coaching system that I've been training coaches for over 17 years now. And it's, like I said, this coaching system has been proven to work, and I've trained over 6,000 coaches. So it's been a wonderful journey. But that's how I got there. Basically was hunting and searching for 10 years before I got there.
What strikes me so often, we look for something.
Yes.
We search and search. People talk about making the right decision. I've got to make the right decision. Yes. But ultimately, I think recognizing that in the searching is the growth, because you'll know what works for you. You'll know what's resonating, what helps you feel more alive, more aligned.
Yes.
And there'll be lots of things that you'll go to, and you always learn something, don't you?
Yes.
But oftentimes you'll go to something and think, this isn't what I'm looking for, and so I'll keep searching.
Yes.
But I think for me, it really illustrates, I think, that life is a lifelong, we're lifelong students.
Yes.
And if we think that we've reached the pinnacle and we've done it all, we're really mistaken. And the universe has a way of coming and giving us a slap and saying, oh,
yeah, no, you're not done.
You're not done. And I think that yearning to know more, be more, is a very much a human condition. And I think you were talking about 95% of the time we are in our unconscious brain, we're in habitual patterns.
Yes.
Where we don't give ourselves the opportunity to have an active choice, because it's just happening to us rather than with us.
Yes, so true.
So what I'd like to just spend a couple of minutes on before we go to our first break is, you're talking about that if you are in tune with God, then God will be in tune with you. And those are my words, and that miraculous things happen.
Truly.
When you look at what's going on around the world, I think there are many people who would think, goodness me, we need some miracles now.
Yeah, so true.
But at an individual level, there are lots of people listening to this. What's your advice around being able to know that you are in tune with God, whatever your God may be?
Oh, that's a great question. I think to know that you're in tune, first of all, you would want to ask for confirmation, just like I did. It's like, okay, is this really the right thing for me? I don't know, but I asked for a sign, and give me the sign that I'm on the right path. And I think that's the important thing. It's like the two-way communication. It's not just, hey, I think I want to try these things, or here's an idea, what do you think? Then you need to receive the confirmation that yes, that's the right move for you. That's your next best step. And that's what I always ask for. I always say, what's the next best step for me? What is the next best thing that I can do? What should I be creating next? And I get guidance on that because I'm asking the question, what is my next best step?
I think there's a lot in there. And I think the people actually asking the question, setting the intention that there is a next step, and it's the next best step, and asking for confirmation. I know at a personal level, one of the things I do is to tune into me. And if it feels light and bright, then I'm pretty certain that it's on the right track. If it feels heavy and clunky and dark, then I know it isn't. And I think knowing ourselves is really important. We've got to go for a short break now, but when we come back, I want to explore more this being in tune with God, how we make that connection, because I think for many people that's something that they struggle with, particularly if they're not part of an organized religion. I'm not suggesting you have to be, but how people find that connection. So please don't go away. We'll be back in just a moment.
All right.
Welcome back. I'm talking with Barbara Wainwright, and we're talking about having that close connection with God, source, call it what you will. How can you help people recognize that there are steps that they can take to have that close connection, and what would those be?
That's a great question. And everybody's different. Okay. Some people are clairaudient and they'll connect. Maybe they'll hear things. Some people are clairvoyant, where they'll have a vision of something. Some people are claircognizant, where they'll just know something, right? And then there's the clairsentient people who sense it. I sense it, kind of like you were talking about how you go inside and you feel it. You adjust. Does that feel heavy or does that feel light? Right. So that's a clairsentient person's way to get that connection. So I think understanding the different ways that people can connect, ask for that guidance, and receive their confirmation. Here's a really fun thing. Okay. To receive the confirmation that you're on the right path for yourself, you can ask for it to look like, sound like, feel like whatever you want. So you could say, if this is the right path for me, I want to see a butterfly fly by or something, right? But you need to acknowledge that it could be a picture of a butterfly, a real butterfly landing on a flower, or somebody could say, oh, I just saw this amazing butterfly.
Yeah.
So you could hear it, you could see it, or you could actually have a physical butterfly in front of you. That's your confirmation. So you don't ignore the signs, when you ask for it. It can come in a multitude of ways, but if you're asking, you can ask for a sign. I got to share a quick story. I had somebody that was learning exactly this, how to get in touch with their guidance and how to get a confirmation. And he asked, I don't even know why he would do this, but he asked for a confirmation having to do with electricity.
Okay.
The power went out in his house and he got his confirmation. But really, do you want to do that? Be careful.
Always be careful what you ask for. One of the things that strikes me is that we live such busy lives. There's so much white noise, so much going on in most people's lives. For me, one of the important things, if you want a closer connection with whatever your God is to give yourself space to actually have some quiet.
Yes.
For some people, that will be meditation. For other people, it'll be to go and do some sewing or to do some cooking or to do something where you can do something that fills your battery up,
Yes.
where
Absolutely.
you're not asking or answering, or you might be doing, but you're doing in a way that is not about, I've got to get the dinner on the table, but
Right.
I'm
Exactly.
enjoying this.
Right.
And has that been your experience? And have you got any other suggestions for people that to help them
Yeah.
find
Yes.
that space in their lives?
Okay. So it's interesting that you talked about, the cooking dinner. I do dishes. That relaxes me. I
Mm-hmm.
mean, it's not I'm not having to think, oh, how am I doing this? No, it's automatic. So my subconscious mind is busy doing the dishes, and I am free to think, contemplate, dream, and that kind of thing. But when I first started to develop my connection, I set aside time. So you have a calendar on your phone, most likely smartphone. You probably have a calendar. You can schedule time with yourself to take, and it could start with 10 minutes. And then the other thing that I did was I made a space, I made a place. So I showed up at the place. I showed up at the time that I had committed to. And then I also had what I called, now they're like crutches, but they were tools to help me establish that connection. It's when I made that commitment to show up, because that's what I was doing. I was showing up for my connection. When I made that commitment to show up, it's like the universe responds and will show up for you. But you got to make the commitment. You got to set the time, and then you can use tools like I did. I had a candle. I'd burn a candle. I had essential oils. I'd smother myself in essential oils, and I'd burn the candle, and I would be ready. And a notebook. I had my notebook and a pen, and now I was like, okay, I'm ready to connect. And so that's how I showed up. And then I was just quiet, and I waited. I just got quiet, and then information would come. You got your pen and paper, you can take notes. Sometimes the things that come, especially if this is your first time to get into doing this connection, sometimes the stuff that comes is, oh, I forgot to take out the trash, or I forgot to do this, or I forgot. Write it down. Say, okay, you don't need that anymore. It's I got it right here. I got the note. What's next? And you wait for the next thought to come. And if it's, another to do, okay, great. Let me write that down. Okay, what's next? So you're clearing your mind of all the busy work that we talk about, right? And then eventually, after you've cleared all that junk out, you've written it down, you got your notes, the next thing that'll come will be insightful. And it will be something that you go, wow, that's amazing. And then you write that down.
I think there's lots of different ways, and I love the suggestions that you've given. For me, getting out in the garden or getting out into nature is a great one. I know
Yes.
of people who go running and they set the
Yes.
intention, and I think setting an intention that you are going to get something is really very helpful.
Yes.
Setting a question before you go to sleep at night,
Perfect.
and then in the morning, very often, you know what you're going to do.
Yes.
So for some, it would be a bubble bath. I think the important thing is that lots of people will tell you you've got to do it this way. And I disagree with that. I think you've got to
Yes, I do
find
too.
what works for you. And in
Absolutely.
the same way that you were searching before you set up you went and discovered coaching, I think
Yes.
we've all got to give ourselves that space and be curious about what is it that's going to be right for us.
Yes, I love that. And setting the intention is important. That's why I said put it on the calendar. Now you've set your intention, right? I'm setting this time aside so I can connect. And it could be, I love the bubble bath idea. That would be so fun. You know? Yeah, perfect. I remember doing that now that you mention it. I remember putting crystals. I had tons of crystals. So I put the crystals all around the bathtub and the candles, and I got into the bathtub and I just waited for some information to come. That's another great way to do it.
I'm just thinking, of busy parents, for example. Often the bathroom is the only place where you've got some quiet and privacy. And for
If they're
men,
lucky.
and I'm being very, very stereotypical here, and I shouldn't be, but for others, men, maybe it's going into your man cave or going into the garage and fiddling about with your tools and whatever it is you do.
Yeah.
I apologize for women who like to be in the garage fiddling about with tools, and men who don't, who like a bubble bath, whatever
Right.
takes your fancy. The important thing is giving yourself that space where you can actually be still, be quiet, and allow yourself, and by still I don't necessarily mean physically still, but still your energy, and so
Yes.
that you've got an opportunity for things to come your way.
Yes. Yes. It's finding that quiet moment. And like you said, I'll say my husband, what he does is at night when he's getting ready to go to bed, that's when he does his meditation. He puts his head on the pillow and he says, okay, I'm gonna go in now. And that means be quiet over here. And then he has his quiet time, and he's manifesting and creating when he goes to sleep.
Brilliant.
I love what you said about posing a question before you go to bed at night
Yeah.
and then waking up with the answer. Oh my gosh, I would do that when I was doing software. I would have a very complex problem in front of me, and I'm like, gosh, I don't know how I'm going to fix that one. And
No.
then I'd go to bed and I say, okay, God, I need the answer for this one because it's not coming from here. It's not working. And then I'd
I've
wake
always
up.
got a pad by the bed, because it's often at 3 or 4 o'clock in the morning that I'll wake up and I'll think, that's it. And so can write it down. Because if I don't write it down by the morning, I've forgotten it.
Yes, it's like a dream. You go to sleep and the dreams, half the time I wake up, I don't remember, but I'll know that I had some kind of a dream. Don't remember what it was.
No.
So writing it down, you're right. It's so important to have your pen and paper ready.
We've got to go for a short break now, so please don't go away. Lots more to come. Welcome back. We're talking about how if you're in tune with God and God's in tune with you, then miraculous things happen. And I wonder if you've got some examples of where miraculous things have happened.
Okay, I have a few. One of them I'll just share is I was nudged to do a daily inspiration thing, somehow put out a public daily inspiration message. I pushed back. I went, I don't really want to do that. And so I said, how about this? I'm negotiating, right? This is not the right thing to do, but so I'll do this. How about I do a podcast once a week? So I've been doing this podcast once a week, and now there's over 12,000 subscribers and there's over 600,000 downloads. So that's kind of a miracle, because you know what I did to promote it? Nothing. I did
That is
nothing.
pretty good, I have to say. Those people who are podcasters who are listening will be very, very envious of being able to have that number of subscribers and downloads without having to actively
do nothing. So that's amazing to me. And then another thing, we started a Facebook group. And again, what have I done to promote it? Nothing, except for it's mentioned on the podcast. And for a whole year, we ended up with 66 members in this group. And the co-host with me, she said, I'm going to pray to manifest. I want to know that we're making a difference. So I'm going to pray for a confirmation. Okay, so this is another one of those things. So she did. And the last couple of weeks, I'm like, all of a sudden we're getting all these requests to join our group. I'm like, what's happening? She goes, oh, well, I prayed for a confirmation that we were making a difference. Oh, because we're over 200 subscribers. In the last week, it's like 100 subscribers in the last 7 days. I didn't do it. She prayed for it. We did nothing. And there they are. So miracles happen when you're least expected. But, the reason I think they're happening is because we're showing up.
Yeah.
We're doing what we were called to do, And another thing, I followed my intuition for my coaching business. I hired a marketer, and I just, I couldn't find any information on the person or their methodology or anything like that, but I followed my intuition. I kept getting a yes, this is the right move. And through that marketing people, that's how I met you. I mean, I've met the most amazing people because of this marketing thing. And I did it on trusting that I was being guided in the right direction. So to me, when you are asking for guidance, follow the directions. I'll just say, by the way, I have done my daily thing. I have 66 episodes of my daily thing because I finally went, okay, I'll do it. Oh gosh. So when you do show up, God shows up for you. Source, higher power, whatever you want to call it, shows up for you too in miraculous ways. But you have to do your part. You have to ask the questions. You have to ask, what's my next best step? How can I be of service? How can I provide value? And then you'll get the answers.
That's brilliant. Now, where can people find you?
Oh, lifecoachtrainingonline.com is my website. The company is Wainwright Global, so wainwrightglobal.com is also, will take you right there. So, and you just search Barbara Wainwright and you'll find me.
So we've got a couple of minutes left in the show. What for you would be 3 pieces of advice that perhaps we've not talked about that you would leave our listeners with?
Oh my gosh. Well, I don't think we said it outright. Tune in to what's going on within you and ask yourself, okay, connect with your higher power, absolutely, but ask yourself, what is it that I would really like to create, gift back to the world, or give back in the world? What is it that is in me that I would love to turn around and share with the world and make the world a better place because I shared it? So that's one thing. Another aspect or way to look at that would be, when I pass away, what do I want people to say about me? Mm-hmm. Wow, she created this amazing thing. I'll never forget meeting her. She made me feel so loved. What is it that when, if you want to look at it from that perspective, when it's your time to go, what do you want to leave as your legacy with the world? How do you want people to remember you?
Brilliant. Thank you. Now, we're very proud to be members of B1G1, Buy One, Give One, which is an organisation that provides help for those less fortunate around the world. The projects are well vetted and every penny, every cent goes to the projects. And we're very proud to be able to help them. And so we do it in two ways. One is that we invite every guest to choose one of 4 projects. Themes, we tend to choose different projects within the themes each month. And those 4 themes are clean water, education, health, and reforestation. Which would you like to choose?
Education.
Thank you. So a donation will be going on your behalf. And remember, just by listening to the show, you help people because we donate meals to the hungry based on the number of listeners. And the listeners are going up. You're sharing. Thank you so much. Please get other people to listen. And just by listening, you're helping. So Barbara, thank you very much for being here. And thank you, the listeners, because without you, we've got no show. Love to hear what you think. Please email me at ginagardiner@gmail.com. Take care. See you on the next show. Bye-bye now.